We're over halfway through 2024. It's crazy, right? That we're coming into August. It has just been crazy. Pokemon are releasing sets left, right, and center, and cards are shooting up in price all over the place. Today, though, we will be taking a look at the top 10 most expensive Pokemon cards that have been released in 2024 so far. Now, I've done videos in the past where I've covered what are the most expensive cards of that particular year. I did it in 2022, I did it in 2023, and now we're going to do it in 2024. We've had quite a lot of sets being released. So today, we'll be going on to TCG Player at the most expensive cards released so far this year. Wonder what number one's going to be. Alright, so here we have it. This is from TCG Player themselves. This isn't just from me going through, picking out the cards. This is the top 10 most expensive Pokemon cards of 2024 so far. This is going to be an interesting one. It really is going to be interesting. So, it says here, 2024 is shaping up to be an odd year for fans of Pokemon cards. It says 3 sets that have released so far this year: Power Day and Fates, Temporal Forces, and Twilight Masquerade. I mean, in my opinion, I think these have been fantastic sets, if I'm being honest. I think they've been very, very good. Of course, you've got the return of A-Spec cards. You've got the Power of 151 that came out last summer. It's just crazy. Time will tell whether any of these cards will take off like Moonbryon did 3 years ago, or whether they'll just peter out before the end of the new year. But we'll have to wait and see. So coming number 10, we have the Iron Crown EX. This is an absolutely gorgeous looking card from Temporal, currently sitting at $61. This card has dropped though over the past year. Well, it hasn't been out that long. Over the past 6 months, we've seen this card shoot up to $100. There's a lot of hype around it, and then it has kind of leveled out a bit. Still $62 is pretty decent. I absolutely love the artwork of this card. I think Temporal Forces has some of the nicest SIRs going, of course, which could be pretty good. It says here that the Iron Crown EX of Temporal Forces released in March, and immediately saw a ton of hype for its competitive potential. So that obviously made it. Obviously, the Iron Hands did very well as well. So the market price at the time of writing was $57. Well, it's trickled up a little bit since then and been $61. Then moving on, we have a regional promo, staff promo, Explorer's Guidance. We don't really cover a card like this that often, and we don't really know where the price is. It says it's roughly around $65. So again, downside of having a staff card, they're not the most exciting, and of course they're very hard to get hold of. And then we've got another one here, which is Professor Churro's Scenario, which is another staff card, coming out around $66. So not the best, but not that exciting. Then number 7, we have the Eevee, of course, from Twilight Masquerade. Really good illustration rare. So don't forget, this is about cards that released this year, and we've been seeing the price graph here. We've been seeing it trickle up. Now, I did expect this card to go up in value. That was my prediction. I think it would be top 3 card of the set. You could be looking at the next Magikarp, and I think it has that potential to be that. So it was 68 in the time of writing, and it's about that. It's dropped a little bit, actually. It's dropped to 58. It's dropped about $10 since the writing of this article. But yeah, pretty good going still from the Eevee from Twilight Masquerade. Then we still continue with Twilight Masquerade with the pairing. This is a huge special illustration rare. Me personally, I'm not a fan of full art trainers. I just prefer the Pokemon. Price graph. Let's take a look. This one has been pretty steady. We're looking at the power of tough pull rates, right? Don't forget, Twilight Masquerade has some of the toughest pull rates. To pull any individual SIR is 1 in like 900 packs. And that also applies to the pairing. So it's going to be very difficult to pull this SIR. And it is a beauty. It is an absolute beauty, especially when you compare it like it has here with the Growlithe. It just looks absolutely adorable with the 2 cards combined together. I mean, this card's not exactly the most pricey, but I did name this as one of the cards you should be looking at picking up. So it was $75 at the time of writing, and it's gone up a little bit to $80. So it's doing relatively well right there from Twilight, which is pretty decent. Next up, we got the Long Neck Boy, Raging Bolt. This one's actually seen some incredible growth from Temporal, similar to the Iron Crown, but the competitive nature of this card has caused it to go up. This is where we saw it, right? It was around that 50, 55, and then it saw the big spike. I think it was like before like the national championships or something like that, so a big tournament, and the card went up to around $100 and is now leveled out at around 80. So not too bad. Time of writing this was 82, looking about right. And again, I expect this card to continue to hold out pretty well, because it is a good competitive card, but not only that, it's beautiful artwork, and the pull rates are pretty tough from Temporal Forces. Moving on, we have the Mew, the Bubble Mew, as people like to call it, from Paldean and Fates. Paldean Fates has some real big cards in it. It really does. And the Mew is definitely one of them, sitting at $86. Beautiful, stunning card. I mean, we're looking at this. It's held very well. I actually thought that this card would drop to around about $50 before the set came out. That was my prediction. I was proven wrong. It held pretty steady. I mean, at one point it looked like it, but then it done very well and it's starting to climb back up. $87 in the time Ryan. It's basically the same. Been pretty steady. We go back over the last 3 months, you can see how steady this card has been. Bear in mind there is a ton of Pale and Fates around at the moment. Relatively cheap. Very top card. Very good. Very tough to pull. And we've been seeing it perform very well. The fact that it's coming number 4 for a set which is, you know, relatively cheap and known for its good pull rates, it's doing very, very well. Then at number 3 we have the Carmine. So we do have a big female trainer Carmine in. Twilight Masquerade once again is proving to be an absolute powerhouse. Let's look at the price of this one. $104. You would expect this card to drop. You really would, you know, but the pull rates, they're so difficult in trying to get this. You know, it's on that same level as the Greninja. So we've seen this card dip to as low as 87, but then it kind of just held strong at being over $100. Time of writing this was 130, so it's trickled down just a smidge. But yeah, very, very well performing card. Very good, you know. I'm not a fan of big, you know, full art trainers being the big chase cards, but we can't deny how good the Carmine is doing. And again, it's the pull rates. The pull rates of Twilight Masquerade that's making this card and any SR on the set just do very well. So I expect this to continue to hold. And even if there's reprints, because the pull rates are so tough, I wouldn't expect a lot of these cards to drop that much in value. I just don't see it. I really don't. You know, it's doing very, very well. Then we have the Charizard coming number 2 from Paldea and Fates. So Charizard, even in the Scarlet and Violet era, is doing very well. This is a beautiful card, like absolutely incredible. I've never pulled it. We've never pulled it on stream. Hopefully one day we will, because it'd be an amazing pull. $114. I mean, it's climbing over the past 3 months. We go back after the last 6 months, and this card did fall from its hyped up price, right? When it was hyped, it was like nearly $200, and it has fallen. So it is sitting steady though at around $110 so dollars. 117 the Rhino of this. Yeah, this card is going to do very well. I think even though similar to the Mew, there's a lot of Pale and Fates around, I do feel like the Charizard will hold down the line. I think it would hold its ground because it is tough to pull, even though Pale and Fates is easier to get hold of and relatively cheap. It's doing well. You know, tough pull rates to get these specific cards is proving wonders. And we've seen it with the Mew. We can see it with the Charizard. In my opinion, this is one of the nicest Charizards that they've done in a long time. Just really, really cool. And, you know, pretty impressive. And then number 1, we kind of all know what number 1 is, right? Number 1 is the Greninja. Right now, this card is doing insane things. Let's look at the price chart for this one. Look at it. I mean, it came out and everyone was like, this is a big money card, right? This is a big money card at the time, $100, $150. Everyone's like, well, this one's overpriced at $150. So I was like, okay. So it corrected itself a little bit. We'll drop down to $180. Then people started to realize the pull rates were insanely difficult to get this card. And then we started to see it go from 118 to 170. And it dipped a little bit because, you know, more people open up, you know, Twilight Masquerade. And then it started to dawn on people how difficult this is. Less of the product around than normal. And it's just started to shoot up. And it's sat around that 250 nearly, right? So the run of this is 250. It's around 250 right now. Incredible. Could this be the new Moonbryon? It's definitely showing signs. Let's put it that way. It is most definitely showing signs to be an absolute powerhouse of a card. Even in the graded slots. Let's see what they have to say about this Greninja, because it's doing incredibly well. So it said, like a stealthy shinobi, the Greninja snuck up from behind and stole Charizard's crown. Special illustration where Greninja EX is the most expensive card of 2024 so far, with a price more than double its closest competition. So it says here, it's hard to pinpoint exactly why this card blew up the way it did. Greninja EX sees almost no competitive play and doesn't have a fraction of Charizard's nostalgia power. On the other hand, the art is spectacular and an absolute explosion of dazzling colour that even looks better in person. I haven't seen it yet, so it'll be really interesting to hopefully pull it one day. The pull rates in Twilight Masquerade are stingier than they were for Scarlet and Violet era sets in 2023. So Greninja is harder to find in the wild than previous chase cards like the Magikarp and the Charizard from, of course, Pale and Fates. Greninja also has a deeper fan base than most Pokemon from Generation 6, thanks to being a star Pokemon, having an iconic design and its prominence in the anime as one of Ash's best partners. But the single biggest factor might just have to be that Twilight Masquerade is still relatively new. With fewer packs opened, there are fewer singles available in the secondary market. So the prices of those singles have been extremely high. That would also explain why Twilight Masquerade has put 4 cards into this top 10 list, the same as Temporal Forces and Paldean Fates combined. Singles tend to drop once a given set is no longer the new hotness. Maybe Greninja will start to drift down after Shrouded Fable releases in August, or maybe it will climb even higher and cement its place as the most expensive card of 2024, the Moonbryon of the Scarlet and Violet era series. We'll know more in a few months. That's interesting. So, they mention about booster packs being opened, and when you move on to the next set, cards kind of die down. You could also say that people will no longer be opening what considered old, because they won't open up the new stuff. So no one's then opening up Twilight Masquerade to then flood the market, right? We saw this with Fusion Strike. With Fusion Strike, not many people cared when the set came out, so there wasn't much opened. And with the tough pull rates, it meant that cards like the Gengar and the Espeon were not flooding the market like sets, for instance, like Evolving Skies did at the time, or even Brilliant Stars. So many people got Brilliant Stars. With tough pull rates of Twilight Masquerade, and the fact is that not a lot of people open it because it kind of got a bit of a, I say bad rep, but it did get out of a bad rep before release. There's going to be a massive impact on the card price moving forward. Is it going to be the next Moonbryon? It has that potential. It's already showing signs like the Moonbryon did already. So time will tell. I just don't see cards like the Magikarp and stuff overtaking the Greninja. I think the Greninja is currently in a league of its own. I think it will drop, but we'll have to see by how much. But I do feel like this card is just an absolute powerhouse right now, and Twilight Masquerade as a set is doing incredibly well. Even the Seal product is going up as well. But if you made it far to the video, guys, and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button and make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments about these top 10 most expensive cards of the year so far. I think it's good. The fact is that we're seeing cards that are breaking $100 from the Charizard, the Carmine, and of course the Greninja. We have high hopes of these sets performing well in the future. Scarlet and Violet is heating up. Things are getting really good. We've got some fantastic sets coming with some big money chase cards potential. I'm excited for it. And, you know, Greninja is just incredible. Now, I will be comparing this list at the end of the year. Once, like, Shrouded Fable comes out, Stellar Crown comes out, and the set in November comes out, we can then look back on 2024 as a whole and see where these cards lie. That's the most important thing. But that is it from me, guys, in today's video. If you want to watch more Pokemon content, make sure to click the video on the screen. As always, you guys are the legends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.